Yo guys, what is going on? JPS back for another video, and today we're going to be reacting to the dumbest questions I've been asked by Americans. This is a Feli from Germany video, so make sure you guys go support her. She makes awesome videos. Like, I've reacted to a ton of her stuff, and almost every video has been really high quality. So, but yeah, this should give us a glimpse into the beautiful American mind and see what type of questions we're asking you guys, why they're stupid, why it may be wrong to ask something like that. So hopefully we'll learn something from this video so I don't make the same mistake, and should be a good one. So hit the like button, hit subscribe, and let's get it.
You know when people say that there are no dumb questions? I actually say that myself a lot. Well, turns out sometimes there are.
Yeah.
Hello, servus, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Feli. I'm originally from Munich, Germany, but I've been living here in Cincinnati, Ohio, on and off since 2016. So for the fifth and last video of my Ask a German mini-series, I'm gonna answer this question that a lot of you guys also voted for in the poll. What's the most annoying question you get asked by Americans? Which reminded me of this TikTok trend from a couple months ago where people from all over the world talked about the dumbest question an American had asked them.
There's maybe like 10 of us all trying to explain to this American couple why they probably don't have fireworks for the 4th of July in Marrakesh, Morocco.
And I said, I've never really been more than a city kid. Like, I've always been either near or in a city. And she asked me, weren't you born in Peru? And I was like, yes. She was, wait, I don't understand. Like, how are you in a city in Peru?
And then he said, oh, by the way, I wanted to tell you, it's not pronounced Algeria, it's pronounced Argentina. I had to explain to him that I came from an actual country called Algeria.
So I decided that I'll be sharing both with you, the most annoying and the dumbest questions I've been asked by Americans. And of course, no offense to anyone who has asked me these things before. As I said in this video, I usually don't think that any questions are stupid, especially when it's about cultural differences and those kinds of things. But that doesn't mean that there aren't moments where I think to myself, wow, seriously? Still, please just take it with a grain of salt. Let's start with the dumbest questions I've been asked by Americans, and the first one is this one.
This
Why
is so
do we call
interesting.
Germany Deutschland in German? I had never been asked this question before I came to the US, and I do understand people wondering about why Germany has so many different names in different languages, but I've straight up been asked before, so why do you have a different name for your country? Why don't you just call it Germany? Or why do you call your hometown this weird other name, München, if you could just say Munich? Number 2 on my list is this one. Hi.
Yo, what's crazy about... Okay, I love the playing the American, but that definitely was... That's a fact. I could see a lot of people saying that. It's just true. Like, Americans in general, for some Americans, don't really look outside of the United States. And I think that is why, like, that's a huge motivator for me for making these videos and having these channels. Like, that, my first video I ever posted on this channel was exactly about that, and how I am just like the rest of the, like, Americans. Like, I don't know anything either about places outside of the United States, but I want to learn. That's the whole thing, is you gotta want to learn. Like, you have to be interested in those things and appreciate and respect other cultures, because if you don't, you're kind of close-minded a bit, I feel like. This is well, I'm so excited to watch the rest of this.
Name München, if you could just say Munich. Number 2 on my list is this one. Hi, I'm Felicia. I'm from Germany. Wow, that's so cool. Like, have you lived in Germany before? Yeah, I was born and raised there. I didn't even come to the US until I was 22, after I got my bachelor's degree. So, do you speak German? Which language do people think one speaks when they're born and raised in Germany? Sometimes the conversation even goes on a little. Yeah, of course I do. Like, fluently? Yeah, it's my native language. Like, my whole family is German. And guys, I've probably had this conversation 10 to 20 times in the US, so it's not one of those once-in-a-lifetime situations. I actually just had it again this past weekend. Before I share the next question on my list, I want to introduce today's sponsor, which is a platform that I wish I knew about when I still went to university. Had never heard outside of the US. Below and try Sudoku yourself. Now, back to the dumbest questions I've been asked by Americans, and the next one is yet another one that I had never heard outside of the US, and I've been to about 20 different countries in total. Hey, German girl, so what's it like driving on the wrong side of the road? What do you mean? You know, since we drive on the right side of the road here, so do we in Germany. Wait, I thought you guys drive on the left side. I really don't know why so many people think this, because I'm telling you, even Americans that know a little more about the rest of the world than the average American have asked me this before. But guys, it's mainly the UK and former British colonies that drive on the left side, like Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, or countries in Southeast Asia like Thailand. But in Europe, we all drive on the right side, besides the British. Next up,
I think that's the whole point there, though. I'm not trying to justify it, but I think a lot of Americans are just under the assumption that the entirety of Europe is like Britain, because we look to Britain for a lot of different things when it comes to knowledge about Europe and stuff like that. So I mean, but yeah, I don't think that's that bad though. Just asking like, oh, because you know it's different. Like that's not terrible to ask that, but I guess, yeah, it is bad to assume that every country drives on the left that isn't the United States or that's in Europe. So, yeah.
But in Europe, we all drive on the right side, besides the British. Next up, I always find it a dumb question when I tell people that my name is Felicia, or Felicia in German, and they ask why I have an American name if I'm German. I know that's not a super dumb question, but I always find it a little ignorant. Like, so many names are names that you'll find in all kinds of languages, like Julia, Julia, or Anna, Anna, or Peter, Peter, and Felicia has a Latin origin and shows up in all kinds of languages. That's actually one of the reasons my parents gave me this name, because they thought it might be helpful if the name exists in other languages as well. And well, they were right about that. And to get to the really, really dumb questions, we're gonna have to go back in time a little to when I came to the US for the first time at the age of 16 to participate in a high school exchange. Some of the American kids were even younger than 16 at the time, and I think it's okay that they didn't know all that much about other countries, but I was still shocked by some of these questions. I got the classics like if all Germans are Nazis or if Hitler is still alive, but also questions like, do you guys have refrigerators in Germany?
What?
Now let's get to the most annoying questions I get asked by Americans, and the first one is more of a me thing, I think. I don't think that other Germans are annoyed by this, but when people talk about soccer around me, they often go, oh no, sorry, you guys call it football, right? So this football player, Lionel Messi, blah, blah, blah. Or when I say soccer, people often go, wait, I thought you guys called it football. And yes, I know that some Europeans are very set on calling it football, but I always find this kind of annoying. Like, I'm speaking American English right now. Why would I call it football if that just leads to confusion in this country? I really don't care what it's called. I just want to make sure that everyone understands what we're talking about.
It looks like somebody did that to her. It happened to her a few too many times. I can see how that would get annoying, but that is fair on the Americans, I feel like, because we get crucified when we say soccer around any Europeans. Like, in my experience, it's happened many times. So that could be an annoying thing, too, to Americans, is always being corrected on that when it's correct to say that in our language. But I'm not saying, like, just because Americans think something's correct, that means it's correct everywhere. Of course, football didn't really originate in the United States. So we owe homage to, I don't know which country. It could be South America. It could be Europe. It could be Africa. It could be, I don't know. But the point is, like, that I see how that could be annoying. But that's just part of life. You gotta deal with stuff like that sometimes. It sucks.
Plus, no, we don't call it football in Germany, actually. We call it Fußball. So I personally really don't care which English word I use for it. In American English, it's called soccer, so that's what I'll say, and that's what I expect Americans to use too. Then I find it kind of annoying that I always get asked things like, wait, don't you guys drink your beer warm in Germany? No, Kyle, we don't. I've addressed this topic in several videos before, though, if you're interested. Number 3 on the list of annoying questions is when Americans say something like, so how are you dealing with all of our local accents? Like, have you noticed that some people will call it pop instead of soda? That must be so confusing to you. What accents are you talking about? Like, yes, regional accents are a thing in the US, but compared to pretty much every other country in the world that has been around for more than 300 years, Americans literally speak the same wherever you go. Like in Germany, we have over 100 dialects and our country is smaller than Texas. Sometimes people speak a different dialect in the neighboring village with different pronunciations, different words, and different sentence structures. It's really not that crazy that there are a couple words that people use differently in different parts of the US. Given how big this country is, the amount of different accents and dialects is actually extremely low. And the same thing goes for when people say things like, you gotta know that us Americans, we use a lot of slang. We don't really speak proper English, you know? Oh, thank you for explaining that. Yeah, other languages don't have colloquialisms and slang. And last but not least, this might sound kind of...
I think, and the ironic part about that is we really don't use that much slang. I mean, depending on who you are. I use a good amount of slang compared to other Americans I've been around, but that is true. We don't use, like, when I think about Britain, they have literally every word in a sentence. I mean, sometimes it's slang. I'm like, what exactly are you saying? And it's the same language. So that's a perfect example of Americans being wrong about saying we use slang and the regional differences. They're not that different, bro. I could go to any state and people would understand exactly what I'm saying.
Kind of mean. I think a few of these things actually have sounded kind of mean, but I sometimes find it annoying when people ask me about how authentic the German food is at a specific restaurant here. Like, it really depends on what you mean by that, because we don't eat schnitzel and potato salad every single day in Germany, and most of what you find here is traditional Bavarian food and doesn't represent the rest of Germany at all. So the answer is that in most cases things have been Americanized a little, so that's something that I can at least judge, and it's also pretty easy to judge the pretzels, which aren't German at all at most places in the US. And beer cheese isn't a German thing either, guys, and neither is dipping your pretzels in mustard. But yeah, I personally don't love that question because it's just such a vague question to answer. And the weirdest thing is when people ask me about pseudo-German food that is actually from the US, like Gouda, which is very popular here in the Cincinnati region, or sauerkraut balls, or the beer cheese dip that I just mentioned. And then people ask me how authentic that is, and I'm just like, well, I've never seen this before I came to the US. So those were all the things that I could think of for these questions. The craziest response on TikTok that I've come across, and several people have shared the same story here, is about Americans being confused when a foreigner explains to them that their family is 7 hours ahead because of the time zones, and apparently the American doesn't really understand time zones, so they ask, so why didn't anyone warn us about 9/11 then if they're 7 hours ahead? Yeah, people have seriously
There's no way.
shared personal stories like that, and there are a lot more of those questions out there that you can check out. This was it with my Ask German mini-series. If you haven't seen the other 4 videos, just check them out up here, and if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and...
Yo. That TikTok trend, I don't have TikTok, but I have seen, like, some compilations on YouTube, and it is embarrassing to hear what people from this country say. And you know what the craziest part is? Like, for some of these points that Feli made, she didn't exactly expand upon them. Like, she just said it as if, like, so if someone watching this video had said one of those things, they would have watched it and been like, huh? They would have just, it wouldn't have clicked at all, like nothing. Because that's, oh my God, this is amazing, bro. That was a really good video, though. And I could see in every single point that she made how that would be annoying to her. So, good on her for making that. But I don't know what to say. Americans, we definitely lack when it comes to the worldwide geography. Literally anything. Like, the geography is especially bad, though. If you tell an American to put a country on the map, there's not a good chance that country is being put on the map correctly. I'm telling you guys right now. I don't know what it is, if the world history, of geography, we were lacking for some reason in that industry or whatever the case may be. But some people were not educated whatsoever. Like when I say not educated, I mean not the slightest clue that there are other countries out there that actually have value. I mean, they know there's other countries there, but they're so far below us. Who cares, right? Anyways, guys, this was a great video. I was very entertained throughout and enjoyed it a lot. So hopefully you guys did too. If you did, hit the like button, hit subscribe, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.